Okay, good evening everybody, and welcome to live coverage of the Thrustmaster FSR World Championship. For the 7th round, we are here at Germany, a circuit that really demands a good balance between a high top speed and lots of downforce. The Hockenheim ring was designed by Hermann Tilke and features a clockwise configuration. Hockenheim consists of 14 turns, 3 long straights, and a really challenging corner at turn 9. Turn 9 is especially difficult because there are no real markers for brake and turning. Expect some lap time lost or people going off the track, since it is difficult to get right under the pressure of both qualifying sessions. Also, each lap has a length of 4.5 kilometers, and we will have one race tonight, which is 67 laps. It will be a challenge for all the drivers, since it offers both slow and fast flowing corners. So without further ado, let's introduce the commentary team. I'm the only commentator for this evening, and my name is James Sadler. And unfortunately, Chris de Jong is actually racing in World Championship, so best of luck to him. And your own Quakel is currently got personal commitments with exams like he did in 8th. So currently we are in the first qualifying session of the World Championship, and this is 10 minutes long. Drivers have free setup and can use as many changes their setup and use any tyre compound that they like out of the super soft and the medium compound, what we have for Germany. And then they'll move into Q2, where the top 10 advance and only have one shot at pole position. The drivers taking turns to go and set a lap time. So as soon as a driver has crossed the line, the person who is next to go will go out the pits and do their lap, and it will carry on until we get to the final driver, who is top in Q1. So currently we are in this Q1 session, and we will go on board with Jerne Simotic for a lap of the Hockenheim ring for Ghostby Racing, heading down into turn 1, flat out into 7th gear. Has a little bit of lift on entry, but pretty decent. So now heading down towards turn 2, brake just after the 100-meter board, and then you extend the line. I think Jerne didn't get the optimal line there, but let's see what his sector is. It's a 16.4, so not too bad, but definitely we can see faster than that in either this session or in Q2. So now driving down towards turn 5, brake just after the 100-meter board into first gear. You don't want to actually hit that apex because you will lose a little bit of time. Better to go wider, and then you can get a better exit. Now heading towards turn 6, a flat out right-hander. Now braking down into turn 7 just after you see that curve on your right hand side. Your brake hits the apex nicely, going around turn 8 and into 4th gear. We've got yellow flags in the first sector. Jerne Simotic heading down into turn 9, has some smoke on his left tyre, which does take a severe amount of punishment around this Hockenheim ring. So now going around turn 13, misses the apex slightly, not the best line for the final couple of corners, but Jerne Simotic go towards the line. It's a 1:30.7. That's actually really good lap time. Johnny Simon is up into 2nd place. Apologies, Simon is up into 2nd place, with Mohammed Patel in 3rd place for the races. So it's currently a Ghostby 1-2, but then C goes up into 1st place, 49 thousandths quicker than Jerne Simotic. The times are tumbling here at Hockenheim, and it's definitely showing that the drivers are really quick here. I mean, comparing it to Pro, literally was an hour ago, and I just finished it. But the times here in World Championship are really competitive, so credit to all the drivers for that. But look at from 1st to 10th, which is Francisco Gazzi in 1st, and in Daniel Brewer for Origin SimRacing in 10th, and it's only separated by 5 tenths. But now Glover Prieto's in 10th place. Now Cuba Brzezinski, so the times are tumbling here. David Greco for Twister Racing back on the top of the timesheets. Thomas Sadler, 14 thousandths off David Greco. That was a really good time from Greco and Sadler. So look how close it is from 7th to 1st, all separated by less than a tenth here in this first qualified session. We have definitely got an exciting Q2 coming up, and a race as well, especially with the drivers being that close to each other. And it just shows that if you lose a little bit of time, it can be the difference between you getting into the top 10 and out of the top 10. So let's see who's on the cusp. It's Dejan Kostalinov for Eventer Sim Racing, and Carlos Martin needs to improve as well. He's only 10 thousandths quicker than Kostadinov at the moment. So both their drivers need to improve, as well as Brzezinski, a really strong driver for Origin Sim Racing, but has struggled qualifying of late, where he didn't manage to get into the top 10 over at Austria. So he definitely needs to improve. Glover Prieto, the Ace Championship driver, a middle tier in Formula Sim Racing, is currently in 12th place, so he needs to improve as well. But the drivers really close here at the Hockenheimring, so definitely expected some close racing. Also, I'd like to discuss over turn 1. I hope we don't see any contact, because Ace commentating on it last night was completely dreadful, and I think there was 7 or 8 cars that went out of the race at turn 1, so hopefully we don't see that in the World Championship. But at the end of the day, these drivers are the top in Formula Sim Racing, so you wouldn't expect that. You expect clean racing, and that's hopefully what we're going to get. Currently have 4 minutes and 45 seconds on the clock, with David Greco leading the way in this first qualifying session. So, Journey Simotic has just gone fastest with a 1:13.694. So, I think let's go on board with Carlos Martin. Let's see what he can do. Kuba Brzezinski's gone up into 6th place. So, let's go on board with Martin for Netrex. And he is a good driver, a young driver, and I'm sure he will do well here at Hockenheim. So now Carlos Martin heading down into turn 1. You expect it to be flat, go onto the left side of the curb, and that was really well done. He has to shift back up into 6th because he lost some RPM, but now break it down into turn 2, and that was pretty good. So it's pretty good first sector so far from Martin. What time will it be? It's a 16.391 in the first sector. That was a good first sector for Martin. He's currently up on his personal best, but he's not up on Simitic's time by 56 thousandths of a second. Gets the cut back for turn 5. Yeah, it's looked like a fairly neat lap from the young Spanish driver, heading now down towards turn 7 on a break just over. You see that curve on the right hand side, gets the car slowed down, runs quite wide but gets the power on nicely. Now up into 4th gear, has a little bit of a lift mid corner, but that's looking pretty good. He's 88 thousandths quicker on his personal best, so can he do something in this final sector? He's only 1/10 off. Journey Simotic has some oversteer, and now heading towards turn 13. 3rd gear, runs wide, doesn't hit that apex, but gets on the power nicely. What time would this be for Carlos Martin? He's only in 11th. He needs to do another lap. He's losing it in both the middle and the final sector. He needs to pull something out the bag, but it just shows how close and competitive it is with this mod and at the Hockenheimring. So only 1/10 separates, or pretty much 2/10 separates 1st to 10th, and Peter Briliak has just left the server. So, but he is currently in the top 10, so I'd expect him to come back into the server. But definitely it's looking really close here at the Hockenheimring right now. I'm definitely looking forward to 67 laps of what should be close and thrilling racing. Journey Simotic has just crossed the line and has gone even faster. A 1:13.640, a great lap, and Peter Briliak has now entered back into the race, so that's good to see. But let's have a look who else is going faster outside of the top 10. I don't believe anyone is actually going faster outside the top 10. They're all on their out laps. So let's go aboard with Carlos Martin again. So he's currently out of the final corner, heading down towards turn 1. Can he improve? This is going to be his final lap, so the pressure's all on Martin. Has so much commitment going into turn 1. That was fantastic. So now heading down towards turn 2. Doesn't get the best line what he wants, but let's see what His first sector is slower than his personal best lap time. He needs to find something in the middle and final sector if he wants to get into the top 10. But look how close it is with the Twister guys of Mohammed Patel, Jim Parisis and BBR Life for Racing driver Marco Conti, currently in 11th place. So really close, only separated by just shy of 16 thousandths of a second, so really close. So who is going to progress into the top 10? Carlos Martin, what can he do in this middle sector? Had he just now over it? He's still slower in that middle sector, so it's do or die now in this final sector. Carlos Martin, what can he do? So now heading towards turn 12, now 30, gets the car hooked in there, carrying so much speed and momentum, has a little bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 14. Is he going to do it? No, he doesn't. Carlos Martin is out of Q2, so he won't be participating in Q2. Let's have a look at Dejan Kostaninov, the Aventor SimRacing driver, currently 46 thousandths quicker on his personal best, but not beating Journey Sivatic in the first sector. So can Kostaninov pull something out? And I don't think he's going to do this unless he has an astonishing last sector. So let's see how it is. So now heading towards turn 13 now. Has a lot of commitment. And can he do this? We'll have to see. Someone's gone off. I believe that's a Twister Racing driver. But yeah, can he do it? Yes, he can. Dejan Kostaninov has managed to get himself up into the top 10 and will be advancing to Q2 unless someone else is going faster. Johnny Simon is going 2/10 quicker and he's just run wide. And that is lap done. I'm pretty sure it is. And yes, it is. So he noticed they cut. Is anyone else going fastest? Prieto has abandoned his lap, so he's going into the pits. And I don't believe anyone else is going faster. So let's run through the top 10 who are heading to Q2. So first place is Journey Sivatic for Go Speed Racing. David Greco is in second place. Thomas Sadler is in third. Francisco Bigazzi is in fourth. Daniel Kiss is in fifth. Kuba Brzezinski is in sixth. Dejan Kostaninov is in seventh. Johnny Simon is in eighth. Petr Briliak is in ninth. And Mohammed Patel rounds out the top 10. So Mohammed Patel will be the first driver to set a lap that. From Journey Sivatic all the way down to Patel, it's only separated by 2/10. Unbelievably close here at Hockenheim. Let's see what the drivers can do. Can they keep in Q2, get pole position? Let's see. So, Mohammed Patel for Twister Racing will be the first driver to set a lap in Q2. Let's see what Patel can do. He is a really strong driver for Twister Racing. That's over the years in FSR. He used to race in Ace, but has now progressed to the World Championship. So let's see if he can keep his composure and try to set a good lap time. So of course, Patel will take a slow lap so that he doesn't damage the tyres, because it's important that you keep your tyres both warm and keep them fresh so you could have the best possible chance at setting the best lap time. So, Mohammed Patel just going round turn 7 and we will see what Patel can do. So, Mohammed Patel starting his lap, coming round turn 13 now. And then turn 14. So Mohammed Patel started his lap here at the Hockenheim ring. Pits on your right hand side. Let's see what Patel can do. Heading into turn 1. Can he keep it flat? So much commitment from the Twister Racing driver. Heading now down towards turn 2. Brake just after the 100-meter board. Gets the car slowed down nicely. And that's a good line from Patel in the first sector. What time will this be? It's a 16.382. That's a good first sector from Patel. Be interested to see if anyone could go quicker in the first sector. You would expect them to, but let's see. That is a good first sector from Patel. Heading now down towards turn 5. Hugs the apex really nicely. So looking like a composed lap from Patel at the moment. So now heading towards turn 6. Then now break it down into turn 7. Hug that apex nicely. And yeah, gets a nice tight line so he can propel himself over round turn 8. Now heading towards turn 9. See how much commitment he's got in 6th gear. Doesn't run over onto the AstroTurf. All 4 wheels still on the tracks. So let's see what Patel can do as he now goes round turn 13 now. And oh wow, that's really wide from Patel. Can he keep his composure? Can he set a good lap time? It's a 1:13.675. That's a brilliant lap from Mohammed Patel. Now let's move on to Peter Briliak. Also another Twister Racing driver in the World Championship. Let's see what Briliak can do. So let's see what sort of traction he gets on the final corner. Fairly decent. So now let's see how much commitment Briliak can have. Currently leading the championship at the moment, so he needs to set a good lap time in. So now braking just after the 100-meter board into turn 2. Fairly good from Briliak. Doesn't get the best line, but it's actually up on Patel. So it's actually a better first sector than what Patel did. So now going around turn 4 with the DRS open, breaking down into turn 5. Has a big lock up on that right front. That's going to cost him a lot of wear on that tyre, so that may affect him throughout the rest of the lap. We'll have to see what his middle sector is like. So now breaking down into turn 7, gets the car hooked up nicely. Now into turn 8. Now let's have a look what his middle sector time is. He's currently quicker than Patel at the moment. Can he keep his head cool and take provisional pole position off Mohammed Patel? So he's looking good for Twister Racing at this point in time. Let's see what Briliak can do. And whoa, Briliak messes up that turn 13, and has that cost him a show of pole position? Yes, it has. He was up in the first and middle sector, but just lost it in that final sector. So now let's go on board with Johnny Simon for Ghostby Racing. Can he keep his composure? Let's see the commitment from the Australian driver. Goes down into 6th gear, so not taking 7th gear flat out. So now into 2nd gear, hugs the apex nicely and gets wide. So let's see what this sector is. It's currently faster than Patel, so 78 thousandths quicker than Mohammed Patel at the moment. So now driving down towards turn 5, brakes really late, has a little bit of rear locking, but manages to get the car to turn in. So now heading round turn 6, and now breaking down into turn 7. What is this like? Johnny really putting a lot of commitment under braking, and perhaps pushing maybe too hard, but we'll have to see what his middle sector's like. He's currently a 10th quicker than Mohammed Patel, so this is looking like a good lap from the Ghostby Racing driver. Can he keep it together in the final sector? Mohammed Patel's final sector was good. Can Johnny replicate that in the Ghostby Racing car? Let's see what he can do. Can the Australian go and get provisional pole position from the Twister Racing driver? Yes, he can. 53 thousandths quicker than Mohammed Patel. So good lap from the Ghostby Racing driver. Now let's go on board with Dejan Kostadinov for Aventus SimRacing. Let's see what he can do. Let's have a look at his commitment. Let's have a listen. Really good commitment from Dejan Kostadinov into the first corner. Now bringing down into turn 2. Hugs the apex a lot more than what Simon Patel and Briliak did. But now, and indeed, he's lost a 10th to Johnny Simon. So We'll have to see if we can make it up in the middle or final sector. Is it that Kostanov has got a higher force set up, so that'll cost him in the third sector. So now heading round turn 5, so and gets good traction. So looking good from Kostanov at the moment. He needs to find some time in this middle sector and breaks down, hits the apex nicely, looking pretty good. Can he do this? Has a little bit of a lift mid corner through turn 8, and he's only 3/10 slower than Johnny Simon now. So I think it's more damage limitation for Kostanov. So he's a good guy. So let's see if he can find something magical in this final sector. We'll have to see. And you know, it's not looking too good, but he's only P4, only slightly away from Briliak, but only P4 for Dejan Kostanov at the moment. So now Polish driver Kira Brzezinski for Origin Sim Racing. Let's see what he could do going into turn 1. So now has a little bit of a lift. Whoa, I think he just managed to keep it on the track. So now heading down into turn 2, and Cuba's binned it. Okay, so now we will go on board with Daniel Kiss, the former Pro Series driver, now advancing. Won in Ace, had an absolutely brilliant drive in Ace 2, where he spun into turn 1 when Jurgis was coming out the pits. I think he got distracted, but he drove an absolutely stunning race where Jurgis's wheel came off, and really unfortunate for him because he was doing such a fantastic job. But Daniel Kiss managed to get a good strategy, went on to a different strategy to everyone else, and managed to take the win. So let's see what Daniel Kiss can do. Definitely a World Championship drive in Ace yesterday. So let's see what he can do for Twister Racing here. So Daniel Kiss starting his lap now, going round turn 10, then 11, then 12, and then 13. What sort of exit can he get out of turn 14? Let's have a look what Daniel Kiss can do going down the pit straight now. Pits on your right hand side. Let's have a look at Daniel Kiss's commitment. Oh, he has a lot of commitment into there, but doesn't run off the track, so kept it within the track limits. Scurrily under braking, so I think he's lost about a tenth to Johnny Simon, maybe. It's just under a tenth, 86 thousandths of Johnny Simon. So now going round turn 4 with the DRS open. I think let's have a look at the top speeds currently. So Daniel Kiss hitting 319.7 kilometers an hour. Johnny Simon seems to be having the fastest top speed at the moment, 321.092 kilometers an hour. So we'll see what Daniel Kiss can do going into turn 7 now, then into turn 8. And let's see what his middle sector is like. Is he faster than Simon? No, he's not. He's just under 2/10 slower. Whoa, Kiss pushing the boundaries here at Germany. So now, can he find something magical in that final sector? He's got a higher downforce setup than Simon. So can Kiss pull something out the bag here at the Hockenheim Ring? Let's see what he can do for Twister Racing. Can he do it? He goes up into 3rd to 10th off Johnny Simon. Incredibly close at the moment, only separated by a 10th from Simon to Kostanov. So now let's go on board with Italian driver Francisco Bigazzi, and has a little bit of a lift mid-corner into turn 1, so no, not being as committed as what the other drivers are, so takes a good line into turn 2. So let's see what his first sector. He's a 10th off Johnny Simon now, so can he find something in this middle sector with the DRS open? Let's see what top speed Bigazzi's got. It's 318, so around 318 is the average of what most drivers have got. Johnny Simon has got the highest top speed, as I said before. So now heading down in towards turn 7, and clips the apex, so have a little bit of oversteer on the exit of turn 7, and runs really wide on turn 8. So now heading down into towards turn 9. There's a lot of commitment into turn 9. That was good from Bugatti. So now heading down into turn 10. Has a little bit of oversteer on the exit turn 10. Now into turn 13. Hugs the apex nicely. Gets too much of the apex maybe. But he's run really wide. So has this cost him a sharp pole position? He's only in 6th place. So I don't know if he'll be happy with that. But we'll have to see. What Tom Sadler, the ace driver, what can he do? The New Zealand driver. Can he keep his composure and challenge Johnny Simon? So now heading down towards turn 1. Let's have a listen. Doesn't lift really. It was good commitment from the New Zealand driver. Breaking down into 2nd gear and gets it hooked up nicely. So let's see. Let's compare it to Johnny Simon. He's 84 thousandths off Johnny Simon at the moment. So let's see what Tom Sadler can do in this middle sector. Can he gain time on Johnny Simon? So now gets the car hooked up nicely in the hairpin. Has a little bit of understeer on the mid corner through the middle of turn 5. Had a little bit of understeer, so that would have cost him a little bit of time. So now heading down into turn 7. Has a big lock up on that front left and runs really wide on the exit turns. Turn 7. Now going around turn 8. Trying to gain a lot of lap top. He's 3/10 off Johnny Simon in that middle sector. So it's do or die now for Tom Sadler, trying to get ahead of maybe Bugatti, but he's going to have to pull something out the bag, which is absolutely magical. So that's pretty good from Sadler, the ace driver. I think he'll put him either 6th or 7th, and it is 7th. So 3/10 off Johnny Simon. So now David Greco for Abercrombie Racing. The Abercrombie Racing were talking about they've got a special driver, so I think it's good for them to see Greco in the Abercrombie Racing. Oh wow, that was, yeah, Greco just, he didn't get that entry to turn 1 correct, and that has cost him a shot at pole position. So unfortunate for him. But Jurnej Simotic is the last driver to challenge for pole position. Greco and Brzezinski messed all their laps in the first sector. Unfortunate for them, because they are quality drivers in Formula SimRacing, and I'm sure they will do well in the race because they have got some really good pace, I can assure you that. So let's go on with Jurnej Simotic, and we'll wait for him to do his outlap, and we'll see what Jurnej Simotic. So it's looking like another Go Speed Racing pole position, but which driver will it be? Will it be Simotic, who's been looking quick all weekend? So let's see. Johnny Simon is currently on provisional pole position. Can Simotic keep it together and possibly take pole position away from the Australian driver? It will be pole position number 2 for Johnny Simon if Simotic fails to go quicker than him. So now the final driver in this Q2 session. It's been exciting so far. Can Simotic do something on his lap? So here we go. Jurnej Simotic going down into turn 1. Let's have a look at his commitment. Oh, Simotic, what's going on? Oh dear. So he had to lift mid-corner there. So now into 2nd gear. Let's see what his first sector is like. So it's 1/10 slower, but Johnny Simon, can Simotic pull something out either in the middle or final sector? He didn't get the optimal turn 1, and that's cost him time. So let's see what he could do in this middle sector. Gets a good line through the hairpin. That's what you want to do. It's looking good from Simotic. So now going around turn 6, and then heading now down towards turn 7 into 3rd gear. So not taking 2nd, what the majority of the other drivers have done. So is this going to gain him more time? No, he's lost time in the middle sector. So it's do or die now for Simotic. Manages to stay on the track, really pushing hard into turn 10. Perhaps overbraked it, overcooked himself going into turn 10. But now going round turn 13, and this is, it's not great for Simotic, but where's this going to put him? Is he going to be ahead of any twisted drivers? He's only in 6th place. But Johnny Simon pole position yet again, like he had in Austria. He had a little bit of a mishap with the back mark, and that cost him the race win. But definitely, as Christian just said, all so close, all separated by 3/10 from first to 8th, and in first to 8th place. But first to 6th place is only 1.5 tenths. That is unbelievable. Really close, and hopefully we have really exciting racing going into the race, which is again 67 laps of what should be good racing here at Hockenheim. So we will go into the warm-up session where we will have an advert from our Thrustmaster sponsor, but definitely credit to the top 3 there, with Daniel Kiss in 3rd place with Twister Racing, so definitely showing he could compete with the best of the rest in the World Championship. Mohammed Patel, again, Daniel Kiss is getting promoted to the World Championship, so he will be a former ace driver, but Mohammed Patel is a former ace driver. He's progressed a lot in FSR and found himself on the front row of the grid alongside Johnny Simon. Johnny Simon, again, another a former ace driver who's progressed a lot and has managed to get himself onto first place in this Q2 session, up on pole position. We'll see what he can do going into turn 1. Hopefully we don't see any incidents, but as the drivers now start the warm-up session, we will head into a thrust presenting their T300 RS, so we will be back into. Hello, welcome back after our Thrustmaster T300 RS advert, and we are currently in the warm-up session, 7 minutes and 25 seconds left on the clock. The warm-up session is just for the drivers to get used to the heavier fuel loads, so we should expect around either mid to high 18s, as Dad Kostanov is currently the leader in this warm session. There's no point looking too much into the times, but it's just interesting to see what sort of lap times they're doing. It's just more to get a feel for the heavy fuel loads, as I said. So I think let's discuss strategy. So strategy here in the World Championship will be around a 4-stop or a 5-stop, possibly, but I think the 4-stop is really the most optimal here at Hockenheim. So yeah, I believe they will start on, for example, the top 10 will start on the tyre they qualified on, and they have part frame rules, so they can only make some minor adjustments to the setup, like steering lock or front wing adjustment. Yeah, as I was saying, so they will start on the tyres that they qualified on, so which is the super soft tyres. So then you possibly, after the first stint, which will last about 10-ish laps, you then go on to the medium compound tyre for your first stop. Then for your second stop, you go on to a medium compound again, and then you go on to the super soft tyres. Or maybe you could do super soft, medium, medium, super soft is what you could possibly go with. But anyway, so currently 5 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock. Peter Briliak is currently fastest. Wow, a 1:18.1. So the race is showing that they've got some great pace in this warm session. Let's see what they can do in the race. They're currently pretty much dominating the championship. I think that's fair to say, considering they're leading the constructors, and also Briliak is leading the drivers championship along with Daniel Kiss. So we will run through the drivers championship in a moment. Unfortunately, it seems like the standings for FSR is currently down on their webpage, but never mind, doesn't matter too much. But all we need to know is Briliak is currently in the lead in the Drivers' Championship. Just Racing are currently in a 1-2 for the constructors, and Jim Parisis is in second place. So Briliak has got a fantastic points lead to Jim Parisis, but of course Jim Parisis is in 10th place at the moment. He needs to do well in the race if he wants to go and catch up to Peter Briliak for Twister Racing. But definitely Twister have got a good fight for the championship, but Briliak is looking the favourite to win it at the moment, but anything can happen, like with last year where Morand did exceptionally well, and then Huis also did a fantastic job and won the championship. But of course Precision Motorsports aren't here for this season, but yeah, so currently Tom Sadler is now up there, 68 thousandths off Briliak. So yeah, it's looking close between Briliak and Sadler in this warm session with the heavier fuel load. So will that transpire into the race for both Briliak and Sadler? We will have to see. And hopefully, as I said before, hopefully we don't see any contact in turn 1, because they are really good drivers, so you wouldn't expect a big incident like what happened in Ace. Pro was actually cleaner at the start than what Ace was, which is surprising. So definitely Ace needs to improve on their starts and cleanness in, well, being more clean at the start. So hopefully, well, these World Championship drivers are really strong, so you would expect them to be clean and to have some good race pace and to not make too many mistakes. Although at the end of the day, everyone is human, we all make mistakes. But these are the top drivers, and you wouldn't expect them to make too many mistakes. We should see clean, close racing. Going by qualifying, that's what we should expect in the race. Also, with the race, the dirty air is quite effective here, it has to be said. And if you've gone for a more higher downforce setup, there isn't really much you can do regarding overtaking, because for whatever reason, Hockenheim, it just doesn't offer too much overtaking. At least it didn't in Ace, but in Pro it did offer a lot of overtaking. So yeah, will we see quite a lot of overtaking? That's what we want to see. That's what commentators like myself and viewers want. So hopefully we do get that, with Sadler now beating, well, Briliak has just left the server, which isn't good considering he's got 1 minute and 55 seconds to the race. So we'll have to, hopefully Briliak can get back into the server, because he's a strong driver, and it will be a terrible miss if he isn't at the start, but hopefully he can rejoin. I'm sure we've currently got yellow flags all over the circuit. We got in the first and last sector. I'm not too sure what's going on, but I think people may be doing practice starts, which is probably explaining why there's so many yellow flags going on, especially on the start-finish straight. But Johnny Simon is currently 7/10 of Thomas Sadler in this warm-up session. So does that mean Simon hasn't got that great race pace? But definitely, I was just on board with Johnny Simon. And going into turn 2, the brake markers have gone off the track. I'm not too sure what went on with that. I don't know who's took them out, but they will be there for the race. But that's something to think about. If you're in the race and then brake markers have gone, you know, it's not going to be a good thing. You have to usually use the brake marker boards as a reference point for when you're braking. If they're gone, you pretty much have to second guess. Although the rubber on the track does help if the track is rubbered in, as it is on the circuit currently. So yeah, hopefully, as I said before, hopefully we don't see any incidents. We'll run through the grid when the drivers begin their formation lap. And also one thing to note, Pastis Jurgis, who had the win, but then lost it because of his wheel, he's in this session, but he's got back of the grid penalty for a late allocation to the World Championship. So now pretty much this session in the warm-up has ended, so now we will have 67 laps of what should be close, thrilling racing, and hopefully everyone viewing on the broadcast enjoys it as much as I do commentating on the action. And I appreciate everyone watching the broadcast, and so yeah, should be some good fun here at Hockenheim.
Attention, grid will
So we do actually have the championship standings, and we'll run through them before the grid gets underway. So Petr Briliak is currently first on 126 points. Jim Parisis is currently on 90 in second. Kuro Brzezinski, he needs to do well. He's currently on 67 points. Mahan Patel is currently on 66. Daniel Kiss is in fifth on 37 points. So this will actually be, if Daniel Kiss starts, this will mean they will no longer race in Ace, which will be a really big shame, as he's pretty much dominating at this point in time. Francisco Bigazzi is on 35 in 6th. Jerne Simultic is in 7th on 28. John Eric Saxon is currently on 27. So really close between Simultic and John Eric Saxon as drivers now get underway. Blair Disley is currently in 9th on 23. And David Greco is tied with Marco Conti for 10th place on 18 points. Now let's just quickly run through the constructors. Twister, Too Fast For You, Twister Racing's second team, is currently in first place in the constructors on 192 points. Twister Racing are currently on 120. Origin Front Row Racing are on 79. Sim Racing are on 47. Ghostby Racing are on 29. That's the main team. Ocron Racing's main team are on 28 in 6th. GS Engineering are in 7th on 27. BBR Life Racing are in 8th place on 26. Magcape Racing are on 25 in 9th. And Tries Netrex GP are on 21 points in 10th place. So that is the grid. Well, apologies, that is the standings. And now we will run through the grid. So now let's have a look here. So Johnny Simon is currently in first place. Mahan Patel is in second. Daniel Kiss is in third. Petr Briliak is in fourth as the championship leader. Dian Kostanov is in fifth. Jerne Simultic is in sixth. Francisco Bigazzi is in seventh. Thomas Sadler is in eighth. David Greco is in 9th, and Q Brzezinski rounds out the top 10. So let's go outside the top 10. So Jim Paris is quite surprising not getting into the top 10. But it just shows how close it was, and it's nice to see Briliak has rejoined the server. So he's currently in 11th. Marco Conti is in 12th. Carlos Martin is in 13th. Good old Valiano is in 14th. John Eric Saxon is in 15th. Michel D'Alessandro is in 16th. Blair Disley is in 17th. Guillermo Prieto is in 18th. Norbert Lientner is in 19th. Daniel Brewer is in 20th. Alexi Cabela is in 21st. And Christian is the last driver on the grid. He also has a back of the grid penalty and is in 22nd place. So Johnny Simon has found his grid slot. We will have 67 laps of close racing. And thanks, Chris, for the standings. Obviously, it won't load on my internet, which is kind of rubbish. Anyway, let's go on with the start of this race. We're waiting for 5 lights, and Johnny Simon will be the first heading down into turn 1 if he gets a good start, of course. So here we go. Lights are going out. We have 3, 4, 5 lights. Lights out. And away we go here at Hockenheim. Simon gets a good start. So now Patel is currently in 2nd. Do we have any dramas towards the back of the grid? No, we don't. I don't think we do. No, we don't. So it's clean so far. And that's a ghost speed car. I just saw Jenny Simčić go off into the grass. I'm pretty sure I did. Unless that was lag. But never mind. So Jenny Simčić is up into 5th place. Johnny Simon gets a good getaway and is currently in 1st. Behind Patel is in 2nd. Daniel Kiss is in 3rd. There's a lot of action going on at the back of the grid. So Q Brzezinski currently going down the inside of Thomas Sadler. Sadler's lost places. He's now down into 10th place. I believe he started in 8th. So now Sadler's dropped down into 10th. But now looking down on the inside maybe into turn 7. But no. So let's carry on running down through the grid. So Mohamed Patel is in 2nd, Daniel Kiss is in 3rd, Peter Briliak is in 4th, Jay Simčić is in 5th, Francisco Bigazzi is in 6th, Dian Kostanov is in 7th, David Greco is in 8th, Q Brzezinski is in 9th, and Thomas Sadler rounds out the top 10. So now let's carry on going through the grid. Marco Conti is in 11th, Jim Paris is in 12th, Valiano is in 13th, Carlos Martin has dropped places and is in 14th. And Michel D'Alessandro, the pro racing driver, who is a really strong driver, it has to be said, is currently in 15th for BBR Life for Racing. Norbert Lientner is in 16th, and he's just spun on the grass on the exit turn 1, and that's destroyed his tyres and has also lost him a considerable amount of time, and that's putting down into 22nd. But now Johnny Saxon's up into 16th. Chris Young is in 17th, making good ground for Netrex from starting on the back of the grid. Currently in 17th. Blair Disley is in 18th. Guillermo Prieto is in 19th. Daniel Brewer is in 20th. Alexi Cabela is in 21st. And Norbert Lientner is in 22nd. Apologies for that. But yeah, Johnny Simon is currently 8 tenths ahead of Mohamed Patel. So Patel staying close to the Ghost Speed Racing driver. So now with Daniel Kiss isn't far off from Mohamed Patel. So it's looking really good from Twister Racing and Ghost Speed Racing at the moment. So both the Ghost Speed Racing cars and Twister Racing cars are all in the top 10 except for Jim Paris. So, and he's having a look down the inside maybe of Marco Conti, but no, thinks better of it. So, and Conti goes wide into turn 1, and that's costing him a considerable amount of time, and that's given Jim Paris 11th place, and now Valiano's jumped up him for Mad Kate Racing, who's also a Twister Racing driver in the Pro Series, is in 12th place. So, let's have a look with the battle at the front with Johnny Simon leading the way, and it's really close between the Twister duo of Patel and Kiss, as well as Briliak as well, so they're all really close to each other. Briliak to Simon is only 1.8 seconds, so the Twister Racer drives hunting down Johnny Simon. Is it gonna be another Twister Racing domination, which we have seen throughout the whole of the season? And Briliak runs wide, going into turn 9, and that's cost him a lot of time to Daniel. He's still within the DRS window, which is just under a second. So currently on lap 3, Johnny Simon leading the way, and he will now start lap 4. So definitely turn 1 is causing issues for quite a few drivers. So let's see if we have any more. But definitely the dirty head, Johnny Simon, going wide in on the exit turn 1 as Daniel Kiss sets the best lap of the race so far, which is a 1:18.4. A good lap time from Daniel Kiss with Twister Racing. And so it's definitely nice to see Kiss in the World Championship. Definitely deserves it, and it's nice to see that David Greco has promoted the Twister Racing driver. But it also is a shame that he's no longer, or will no longer be racing in Ace, because he definitely offered a lot of interest in racing and some fantastic overtakes this season. But interesting to see how long it takes our other drivers to go and overtake Kiss. So Club only needs really 2 wins, and then he would overtake Kiss. But he needs 2 wins and maybe 5th place. So we're currently on round 7, so we're at the midway stage in Formula SimRacing. So yeah, so Klopp needs to put his hammer down in Ace. But let's not really discuss Ace, let's discuss the World Championship. And currently this battle for 9th place is definitely hotting up. Sadler right behind Brzezinski. So we'll keep an eye on the 1st place battle, but this seems a lot closer than what it is at the start. Having said that, no, never mind. The timing just glitched out for one moment there, but never mind. So yeah, let's have a look on board with Thomas Sadler. Can he use DRS as effective as? Can he use it to his advantage and try and get past Kuba Brzezinski? Brzezinski is currently on the medium tyre, so he needs. Well, Sadler really does need to get past, because this is going to ruin his strategy. So we should expect the drivers coming in around 5 to 6 laps, maybe earlier even, especially with these heavier fuel loads than what Ace and Pro use. But these drivers should be able to maintain their tyres. And Johnny Simon! Oh, Johnny, what's going on? And oh, there's a little bit of contact to Johnny. Oh no, it's all falling apart for the Ghost 3 Racing driver. He went deep into turn 7, and that allowed Mohammed Patel into the lead, and then had oversteer on the exit of turn A, and that's cost him 2 positions. He just needs to keep composed, and you know, a podium would still be a great result for the Ghost 3 Racing driver. Just needs to keep composed with his driving and not try to push too hard, as that will destroy his tyres and he will lose too much time to the Twister Racing cars. Look how much fighting he's having to put in, and there's a driver off. Is there? I thought there was, but never mind. But currently Briliak is in a Twister sandwich, and Kuba Brzezinski, I think, is the driver that I saw. He's into the pits. And did he have any damage, or was that just a casual pit stop? Anyway, so that doesn't really matter. So Kuba Brzezinski is in stone dead last place. We expect him to come up through the field. So Mohammed Patel is now leading the way from Daniel Kiss, Johnny Simon, Peter Briliak, Jenny Simotic, Francisco Bugazzi, David Greco, Diane Kostanov, Jim Parisas, and Thomas Sadler. But definitely the drivers are really close, as we saw in qualifying, but overtaking doesn't seem to be happening. It's more mistakes that are causing overtakes. But maybe Briliak can try and overtake Johnny Simon, but we'll have to see. So both drivers go really wide on the exit at turn 14. So look at that. Johnny Simon really struggling with the rear end of that Ghostby car. He's just losing too much time to Daniel Kiss, maybe pushing too hard. But Peter Briliak has got a very good opportunity to go and take Johnny Simon. Going now down into turn 5, so his DRS is open. Can Peter Briliak go and take Johnny Simon going into turn 5? He's hitting the rev limit of 318 kilometers an hour, and Johnny Simon goes deep again. And I just don't know what's going on with Johnny. He's not composed as what he is used to be, but never mind. So But never mind. So, oh, and Johnny Simon has gone deep again into turn 7. And now that's a lap. So in the space of a couple of laps, he's gone from 1st to 4th. And now Twister Racing are leading the way again. I'm not sure what's going on with Johnny. But maybe we can find out at the end of the race. But never mind. So currently we are going on to lap 8 out of 67. So, and we'll have 59 laps left to go in this race. And let's have a look at this battle for 9th. Jim Paresis has managed, well, he's managed to overtake Brzezinski because Brzezinski pitted, and Francisco Bigazzi has managed to get past Jurnej Simontic. So good for Bigazzi. So now Jurnej Simontic has dropped down into 6th place. Francisco Bigazzi is now up into 5th. So good for him. But this battle for 9th is quite close, with Sadler only 6 tenths away from Paresis. But Valiano is not far off either, so this could be a good battle if the drivers get closer together. But we'll have to see how that ends up. And Blair Disley's lost the place to D'Alessandro going into turn 5, so good move from D'Alessandro to put himself up into 14th place. So now on lap 9 out of 67, with Mohammed Patel still leading the way. The drivers, whoa, Simon, what is... I'm not sure what's going on with him. He's just... I think he may be struggling with tyre wear, but we have got yellow flags in the middle, in the last sector. Marco Conti's left. What happened to Conti? Okay, so I think Conti just lost the car on the exit of turn 14. Such a shame for the BBR Life for Racing. We've only lost one driver out of 22 drivers, so not bad going so far. We're currently on lap 9, as I said before, when Mohammed Patel crossed the start finish line and is still currently leading the way. But this battle for 9th place is really close between Sadler and Jim Paresis. Only 8 tenths separates Paresis from Sadler. So let's see if this battle can commence. We'll have to see what Thomas Sadler can he find some pace on the Twister Racing driver. Now, currently on lap 10, we're gonna start to see the maybe some undercutting and people going into the pits. But do we have any pit lights on? No, we don't. Not from the top 5, and no, we don't. So we'll have to see if someone's got off. Who's that? That's Guillermo Prieto's got off at turn 1. And I believe he just went off into the grass, and that's cost him a lot of time, has that for Guillermo Prieto there. So unfortunately for him, he is a really good driver. He was at the end of last year for 2014, but it's also he's had an up and down season in Ace, but he's been unlucky. So hopefully he does. But yeah, Daniel Kiss's pit light is on, as is Mohammed Patel. So Mohammed Patel dives to the pits, as does Kiss. Brilliac stays out, Simon stays out, but there's also got his pit light on, so you'd expect him to come in at the end of lap 11. Guillermo Prieto's now left over, unfortunate for him, but Bigazzi's got his pit light on. Simontic hasn't, so I'd expect it to come on as well with Kostelinov. And Paresis has as well. He's currently up into 6th place. But where's this fed out for Mohammed Patel? He's currently in no traffic and is currently in 9th place. and D'Alessandro has managed to beat himself. He's managed to beat Kiss. So Kiss is going to need to overtake Michel D'Alessandro. D'Alessandro is currently on the scrub set of prime compound tyres. Kiss is on a fresh set of super softs. This should be easy pickings for Daniel Kiss, and look at that big straight line at speed from the Twister Racing driver, and an easy pass into turn 5. So let's see how. So effectively, Patel is currently in clean air at the moment. So yeah, we'll have to see where Simon and all the rest of the drivers feed out, but he is under pressure from Bugatti at the moment. So I believe Simon will go into the pits to counteract the Twisters. Yes, he does, as to Bugatti. So this is a pit lane race, and also Briliac is in the pits as well. So Simitic is leading. He will probably go into the pits at the end of this lap, I would expect. Jim Paris is now up into 5th place, and look at that. Briliac had to pull on a lot of lock to stop going into the back of Bugatti, but look at that. Simon has got a bigger gap to Bugatti now, and Briliac feeds out ahead of D'Alessandro. So that's good from Briliac. That's what he wanted. So that's good. So Briliac has now got quite a considerable gap to Daniel Kiss. So it's looking for Twister Racing at the moment. They've fed out into not a lot of traffic really. The field's spread out a lot more now. Simitic needs to pit, and he will feed out. It's around 17 seconds for a pit stop at Hockenheim. So feeding out in around 11th place, I would have thought. We'll have to see, but his pit light is on. So, and also Bledisy is up into 10th, but of course he needs pit still, but he is on the prime tyre. I think it'll be interesting to see where these drivers who have gone for the prime tyres at the start of the race are going to feed out. So now Journey Simitic is into the pits. Jim Paresis follows him as well. So Sadler takes the lead for GS Engineering, but of course he still needs to pit. So let's see where Journey Simitic and Jim Paresis. Look at that. The pit boxes are so close between the drivers, and there was contact between Simitic and Paresis. Wasn't a lot what Simitic could do about that, but now that's fed him out. Someone's off. Johnny Simon is off. He's lost his front wing, and he's going to have suspension damage. It's not been a great race for him. I think he's been pushing too hard, has the Ghost Speed Racing driver, but unfortunate for him. So now we are going to. So it's effectively that Mohamed Patel is currently leading the race. Sadler still needs to pit, but his pit light isn't on, which is quite interesting. So we'll have to see when he comes into the pits. But let's have a look at this battle from around 6th all the way down to 12th. There's Chris, no apologies, that's Colts Martin, who's gone up into 11th place. So a good pass on John Eric Saxon, the Avid Quality Racing driver, who also designs the tracks for FSR, mods them from or converts them from rFactor 1, and does an excellent job. As it's an example of Austria, which was converted by himself, so it's a great effort from him. And he's also made some changes to this Hockenheim ring, and it does look great. I'm sure everyone else will agree. On the broadcast, Journey Simitic went a little bit wide, and I think that's just a little bit of lag from the exit of turn 14 on my screen. And Sadler is still yet to pit, so I'm just waiting to see when Sadler is going to come into the pits. So John Simon has now managed to make it back to the pits and has managed to replace his front wing, but he's now down in 20th place. So he's last from the current runners, and the driver that's ahead of him is Alexei Cavella. But currently Thomas Sadler has got his pit light on, but perhaps it was an attempt to hold up Mohamed Patel. But yeah, the lead tyres surely must be pretty destroyed. So now Sadler goes into the pits. Let's see why this speeds him out maybe around 10th place is where you probably expect Sadler to come out. So Twister Racing currently have a 1-2-3, which is a fantastic effort at the moment. So Sadler currently in the pits, goes onto the prime compound tyre and will feed out behind. So he's currently in 11th place. Chris Young's just coming out. I have turn 1, so Sadler is in the 11th place. But this battle between 7th, 8, 9 and pretty much 7, 8 and 9, which is Brzezinski, Greco and Paresis, it's definitely hotting up. DRS is open for both Greco and Paresis, and look, Paresis had a little bit of contact on his team boss, who is driving for Twister Racing, but he's the owner of Twister Racing, but he's driving for Arichronic Racing for this round. I'm not sure whether it's for the rest of the season, but we'll have to see. So this battle is definitely hotting up, and interested to see what happens on lap 16 when the drivers come around. So Patel has now got quite a big gap to Daniel Kisser, Chris de Jong and Michel D'Alessandro. What's happened to Chris de Jong? Chris de Jong's lost some positions. Let's have a look on the replay. Okay, so he dropped the car into turn 7. Unfortunate for Chris de Jong. He was having a good race, and that's just sent him back a couple of positions. Jim Paresis, whoa. What's going on with Paresis? He had quite a lot of oversteer on the exit of turn 1, but maybe he's not got enough temperature in his tyres. I'm not sure what was going on there. But Derek Greco has got DRS on Kuba Brzezinski. Let's have a look at what Greco's top speed is with DRS. It's only 316 kilometers now. Brzezinski doesn't even need to defend, and so Brzezinski looking to keep this position unless he makes a mistake, which of course we don't want to see. But Brzezinski looks like he's going into the pits as his pit light is on. So let's run through the order as we go on lap 17, with Mohamed Patel leading the way from Daniel Kiss, Petr Briliak, Francisco Bigazzi, the Italian driver for SimRacing, doing a good job. Jack Stananov in 5th place. So it is a good job from SimRacing at the moment, having a good race. And Kuba Brzezinski has now gone in the pits. So, and I thought he'd overshoot his pit box, but no, he's managed to not do that. So where's this going to feed out? Kuba Brzezinski around 15th place. John Smart, no, that was Norbert Leitner, has just gone past him. So Kuba Brzezinski's fed out into 15th place. What's happened to Daniel Brewer? Daniel Brewer is in the pits, as is Chris de Jong. So Daniel Brewer feeds out in 18th place. He's got a clear out, so let's see what Brewer can do. Chris de Jong is also fed out behind him for NetRace, so let's see what de Jong can do as well. Johnny Simon still in last place, 21 seconds away from de Jong on the prime compound tyre. Nice to see that he's still going. Oh, so we've had a change for 2nd place. So Petr Briliak has managed to get past Daniel Kiss. So Briliak is now up into 2nd place. So we're interested to see what Briliak can do. Can he possibly challenge his teammate, which is Mohamed Patel? But he is 2.6 seconds down the road. Currently going around turn 4 is Mohamed Patel for Twister Racing. So, wow, Carlos Martin having a little look on. David Greco going into turn 5, and Greco's managed to keep that place, but now Carlos Martin going down into turn 7, breaks quite early so it's good respect from Carlos Martin. But David Greco doing a good job. He's up into 8th place for Icon Racing. Icon Racing doing a fairly decent job. But John-Eric Saxon is in 15th, so perhaps he can climb up the order if he finds some pace in that Avid Chronic Racing car. So we have a pit light on of Carlos Martin on lap 19, who dives for the pits. So Carlos Martin, where will this feed out the nearest driver? Maybe trying to get an undercut on David Greco, but Greco is currently on the prime tyre, so I'm interested to see how this battle feeds out come the end of the race. But Carlos Martin currently in the pits, and Bleders has just overtaken him. John-Eric Saxon is just going around to turn 1, so this is going to be quite close. Carlos Martin needs to get ahead of John-Eric Saxon, but he hasn't done that. So, and look at that, it's a huge lockup from John-Eric Saxon for I run, but surely Martin will be able to overtake Saxon. But of course Saxon is also on the option tyre, so this will be an interesting battle. Currently for 14th and 15th. Martin catching, can he pass him though? He's having a look. He's going to try and get the cut back. Oh, this is good driving from Carlos Martin, the young Spanish driver for Netrex. He's going to go and have a look possibly into turn 7, so having a look down the inside. And oh, there's contact from both drivers. Perhaps Martin went a little bit deep and he lets Saxon through, so that's a good respect from Martin there. But we'll have to wait and see on the DRS at the ZRS zone come on lap 21. We'll have to see if Martin can get past John-Eric Saxon. So, and that looks like that is the closest battle on the track at the moment. And currently we have Patel's pit light on, we also have Kiss's pit light on, and we have a yellow flags in the first sector. Guillermo Valiano, I think he spun on the exit of turn 1, and that caused some yellow flags. I believe that's going to damage his tyres for Mad Kate Racing. But now let's go back to the battle between Martin and John-Eric Saxon. So he's going to have DRS, so DRS is now open for Carlos Martin, going on the outside of the Avocado Racing driver. Look at that, John-Eric Saxon's top speed isn't much less than Carlos Martin's with DRS, but Carlos Martin, he's managed to get past John-Eric Saxon, and that's cost him quite a bit of time, so that may affect him come the end of the race. But it's good that Martin has now got that position done. So without that battle, there isn't too much action going out on the track, but Patel is in the pits. He's opted for the prime time. Look at that, Daniel Kiss came on the right side of Mohammed Patel, so not on the normal line for the pits. So but never mind, Patel has again come out in some clean air. So Patel's engineers at Twister Racing doing a good job to feed him out with no traffic. He's managed to get him ahead of team boss David Greco. So Brilliac, apologies, Patel is doing a good show for Twister Racing. Brilliac will come into the pits at the end of this lap. He's currently got his pit light on, as does Francesco Bigazzi. And Daniel Kiss has just passed Thomas Sadler there side by side. Going now down into turn 7. There's a little bit of contact between both ace drivers, and that's put Kiss off the track. So I think Sadler may let Kiss come back through, or sure, maybe, I'm not too sure. We'll have to see what happens in the post-race checks after the race, because that's the job of Chris Cobb. So we'll have to see what his decision is on that, if Twister do protest that incident. So Petr Brilliac is in the pits, as is Francesco Bigazzi for Event Sim Racing. And Will gets a lot of oversteer, exiting his pit box, and now comes out of the pits and enters in again in some clean air. Just having Michel D'Alessandro, who's having a good race and is currently in 10th place for BBR Live for Racing, is the Pro Series driver. So good effort from Carlos Martin. He's just set the fastest lap of the race, and it was a 1:17.3, so it's a good lap, and he's now right behind Guido Vagliano, the Pro Series Italian driver, and now going down the outside of Guido Vagliano, going down into turn 15, moves across, but goes back onto the racing line, and that's another pass for Carlos Martin. Doing a good job is the Networks driver, but Vagliano has his pit light on as well. So Jan Kostanov now enters into the pits for Eventer SimRacing. Jim Paresis now goes up into second place. Of course, Simotic and Paresis still need to pit. The gap between Simotic and Paresis is now 3 seconds. So let's see where Kostanov feeds out. Kostanov feeding out. We've got yellow flags in the final sector. Chris de Jong, what's happened to the Networks driver? Let's have a look. I think he was beached in the gravel, and I think that may be it for Chris de Jong. And yes, it is. So I think Chris may join us in the commentary booth again, like he did with Ace. But yeah, so that is another retirement. So quite high attrition here at Hockenheim. So Jenny Simotic currently is going to go into the pits, and Chris de Jong is now left to serve. We'll have to see if he comes into the commentary booth. We'll have to see. But Jenny Simotic going into the pits now for Ghost Speed Racing, and then we will see where he feeds out. And if anyone has got any questions in the comments on the YouTube chat, that would be much appreciated. And look at that, look at the grid spots, they're so close. They're having to go on the right side to exit safely, but now Paresis is still behind Simotic. But where is Simotic going to feed out? And Simotic feeds out ahead of Q Brzezinski. So good work from the Ghost Speed Racing team on the pit stop. So now let's have a look at this battle. So many battles going on at the moment. Let's go on board with Daniel Kiss as he goes now on the outside of David Greco, and an easy pass for Daniel Kiss as now Francisco Bigazzi goes and passes Thomas Sadler. Goes a little bit into turn 5, but Bigazzi has managed to get that move done. So there was an excellent battling going on with the drivers going down into turn 5. Definitely a hot spot for overtakes at the moment, and Q Brzezinski has managed to get past Jerne Simotic. I think Simotic maybe made a mistake, but Q Brzezinski trying desperately hard to get past the Ghost Speed Racing driver, but look how much he had to brake to stop going off the track, and even then he was right on the cusp of going outside the track limits behind the Ghost Speed Racing car, thanks to the dirty air. But this battle between Simotic and Brzezinski. Brzezinski is on the softer compound tyre, which is the red stripe option tyre, which is the super softs. And let's see what Cuba Brzezinski can do. Has to get out of the throttle quite a lot, but now it's allowed Blair Disley to get quite close to the Polish driver for Origin Sim Racing. So now can Brzezinski get past Simotic? No, I think he's way too far away. You need at least to be about 4 tenths to the driver to make a pass into turn 5. We'll have to see what happens on the next lap. This battle between Greco and Francisco Bigazzi is definitely hotting up. Look how close Greco is, but backs out of it, thinks better of it, and it appears that Greco is going into the pits. Jim Paresis and Blair Disley are battling hard quite a lot, and now Jim Paresis has managed to get himself up into 10th place, and Jan Kostanov having a look down the inside, but Blair Disley goes really wide on the exit of turn 9. So we'll have to see. This is a good battle going on. So Q Brzezinski is currently 8 tenths away from Simotic, so dirty air won't be too effective as Greco has now gone into the pits. Interested to see where that feeds him out. but SimRacing is now getting time away from Brzezinski now, and is now hunting down Thomas Sadler, which is his go-to racing teammate. Greco has now fed out into 11th place, and now let's have a look at this battle for 6th place. Journey Simitic, Brzezinski, and Jim Paresis, but it looks like Paresis has got a good chance to get Brzezinski going down into turn 7, but he's just too far away to have a look. Down into turn 7, now heading towards turn 9. Let's have a listen to how much Paresis has to get out of the doesn't have to get out of it too much, but still you do lose quite a lot of time to your to the person ahead of you because of the dirty air, but it's showing that it's been still quite effective, but it's not too much here at Hockenheim, it has to be said. So now Jim Paresis right behind Kura Brzezinski, so now heading down into turn 1, and Paresis got a lot closer to the apex than what Brzezinski did, and as a result of that, Brzezinski cooked up his front left tyres quite considerably. Now this is a fantastic opportunity for Jim Paresis. Had a great first sector, a 17.3, so can Jim Paresis make a headway of Kura Brzezinski going down into turn 1? Is he going to try and go around the outside? Bit of Vettel and Button-esque, but Jim Paresis, good driving from both of them, but of course Paresis will have the inside line. Give each other room, yes they do, and Paresis has now got the inside line. Good clean racing from both drivers, and that's what we like to see. Paresis is now up into 7th place, a good job from him. And now Bledizzi's gone down into 14th place, with Daniel Brewer overtaking him for 13th place. So good job from Daniel Brewer. And currently this battle between Sadler and Simitic is getting quite close now, so maybe Simitic will get past Sadler with use of DRS down the straight of turn 4 with DRS, of course, so he will be within the DRS zone, which if you go on board with Journey Simitic, we will be able to see there's the DRS activation, and there you can see we've got the yellow light of the DRS activation, and now Journey Simitic has got DRS. He's going round the outside of Thomas Sadler, and that's a fairly easy overtake, but look at that, Jim Paresis is now right behind the GS Engineering driver of Thomas Sadler, and is Sadler going to lose positions now? Look at that, really close, less than a tenth separates them going down into turn 7, and that is another move done for Jim Paresis. A good job from him, and he's now climbing the positions, but Briliak is still leading, so it'll be a bigger championship lead for if it finished like this for Twister Racing. But Twister Racing having a great race with still holding a 1, 2 and 3, but Francisco Bigazzi is currently the best from the rest in 4th place. A great job for Juventus Racing. Is the Italian driver Dian Kostanov as currently, no, apologies, Tom Sadler and Kura Brzezinski have now gone into the pits, so Kura Brzezinski's gained quite a lot of positions from pitting early. So Thomas Sadler, what's going on with Sadler? Sadler's had a poor pit stop, and now Kura Brzezinski's jumped him in the pit stops, and now that's now Bledizzi's going to come alongside him. So Sadler's going to pop back in behind Disley, but of course Sadler will then get DRS on the Australian driver, and of course Sadler is from New Zealand, so they're both halfway across the world, and it's currently about 4 in the morning over in Australia or New Zealand, especially in Melbourne it's 4 in the morning, so credit to all both Disley, Sadler and Simon, who is actually still going, so, and he's actually called to Cavella now, so it's getting quite a lot of time, so I think He's been more composed and has just kept his head down and trying to have damage limitation, and we have got 37 laps remaining in this race. It has been exciting as what we wanted, and that's definitely good to see in this World Championship race. But this battle between Disley and Brzezinski, Disley's 8 tenths away from Brzezinski. Of course, Brzezinski has now got a clear track. The only driver in his way is around about 5 seconds away from David Greco. So definitely Brzezinski making a lot of ground. Is Cuba Brzezinski, and I believe Jim Paresis has now managed to go and get past Journey Simontic going into turn 5. So good move from Paresis, and we do have yellow flags in the last sector. Who is that? I can't see who it was. Johnny Simon has now retired. So, and let's have a look on the replay. And I think he just spun on the exit of turn 14, and that it is Johnny Simon's race over. So it's not been a good race for Johnny Simon, but he will come back fighting over at Silverstone. I'm sure he will, because he's shown that he's got the pace on one lap. He just needs to perfect it so he's got pace in the race. He did have pace in Austria, but we'll just have to see what he can do in Silverstone. Is the pro commentator. So yeah, let's go on board with Daniel Kiss, who is now right behind David Greco. It's only 5 tenths, but is that a big enough gap for Greco to maintain in 8th place? So, and I believe it is. So Kiss isn't getting past, but breaks incredibly late than what David Greco does, but Derek is doing a good job. So we'll have to wait till lap 32. Yep, at the beginning of lap 32, where Daniel Kiss will have the DRS. He maintains this gap of 4 tenths to David Greco. So far all the drivers keeping it clean and doing a good job, and that's what we like to see. And still, well, Peter Brillack is still leading the way, and yeah, so, and Daniel Kiss is now in 9th place, and someone has gone off the track. That's Dejan Kostadanov going into turn 1. That's lost him to time to Michel D'Alessandro, who's having a great race, up in 7th place. BBR Live for Racing, great effort from him. And Thomas Ellis just gone fast with a 1:16.5, so that was a good lap from him. And so, and that was a big lockup from Mohammed Patel going into turn 7 there. So, and it appears that another planned stop for Twister Racing with Petr Briljac's pit light is on, as well as Mohammed Patel. So let's see what Petr Briljak and Mohammed Patel can do. They'll probably feed out in front of Jim Paresis, you would expect, would Petr Briljak, and Mohammed Patel will probably finish out in front of Journey Simontic, but we will have to see. Journey Simontic is currently going around turn 12, now going around 13. So where is Patel? Patel's just entering to his pit box, so it appears that Simontic will get this place, and yes he does. So that is now, and Patel's down in 5th. In fact, now he's down into 6th, but Petr Briljak has managed to keep up in 3rd place and is now going to go and hunt down his Twisted teammate Jim Paresis. So yeah, it's definitely been a good race so far. So look at that, Kostanov is right on the back of Mohammed Patel. He's only 3 tenths away, going down from turn 5, now heading down towards turn 7. So can Kostanov pass Mohammed Patel? I don't know. We'll have to see come lap 34 when they enter into the DRS zone. But Patel's now put out a larger gap to Dejan Stadanov, and Jenny Simontic is currently ahead of them, and you would expect him to pit in the next couple of laps. So I think let's have a look. We will come back to the battle between Valiano and Brewer. I don't think anything will ensue until the DRS zone, as long as Brewer can keep this gap of 3/10 to Valiano. But we'll have to see if we can do anything in the third sector. But Mohamed Patel does have DRS on Journey Simontic and Parisis. Oh, hang on, let's go back to this twist battle for second and third. They're side by side going around turn 6. Now bringing down into turn 7. Brilat's got the inside line, and that's a good move from the Croatian driver for Twister Racing. That's putting him up into second place. So good job from Brilat, and now he's going to go and challenge down Francesco Bigazzi, but apologies for that. But Bigazzi is going to go into the pits, as is Jim Parisis, although Simitic is not, but indeed Parisis isn't either. So Francesco Bigazzi is the only driver to go into the pits so far. But Derek Greco's pit light is also on as well, but can Greco go into pits? Yes, he does. So where will this feed Greco out to? He'll probably feed him around about, I'll have to see, I think around 13th is where we could possibly expect, just ahead of John Eric Saxon. But I think he maybe get overtook by Saxon, so he's going to feed out in 14th place. Is David Greco, as John Eric Saxon just goes past him now. So let's go on board with Francesco Bigazzi and Michele D'Alessandro. So I think Michele D'Alessandro just outbroke himself. I'm pretty sure that was just the case, but we'll have to see if any more battles are going to ensue at the moment. Currently, there aren't too many battles going on at this point in the race, although Jim Parisis is now in the pits and Mohamed Patel has just gone past the pits. So again, Burlak and Patel are in first and second, but the gap between Burlak and Patel has also increased, so it's now 4 seconds instead of 3.5. And let's see where Jim Parisis feeds out. He's going to feed out at behind Daniel Kiss, but crucially ahead of Kuba Brzezinski. But now they're going to, but of course Kuba Brzezinski is going to have DRS now heading down in towards turn 5, going around turn 4 now. But look at the straight line speed that Brzezinski catches up to Parisis, and Parisis defends well, but Kuba has got that move done. So good move from Kuba Brzezinski for Origin Sim Race. So currently Simitic needs to pit, and Greco is now up into 13th. But Carlos Martin attacking Blair Disley into turn 7. Is he going to get this move done? There's a little bit of contact between both drivers, and indeed Martin has got that move done. So that's a good move from Martin. A little bit of contact, but that was a good move from Carlos Martin for Netrex. But look at this battle between, well, Jim Parisis has managed to go and keep the gap between Brzezinski and himself, obviously, and it's now 3/10. So if Parisis can keep this gap the same, but loses a 10th through turn 1, and I believe Gianco Sonov has just gone into the pits and is going to feed out ahead of David Greco, so we'll feed out in 12th place. Yes, he does. So let's go on board with this battle for 7th place with Brzezinski and Parisis. Parisis biting back darts down to the inside and brakes later. Then Brzezinski uses DRS well. Brzezinski tries to get the cutback, but Priestess places his car well, and that's put Priestess back up into 7th place. The gap between Burlak and Patel has now gone down by about a second. So has something happened to Burlak, or apologies for that if you heard that, but Patel has just gone a second quicker than Burlak. So did Burlak have a problem on that lap? I don't think he did, but of course Patel is on the outlier, which explains why Patel is catching so much up to Petr Briliak going on lap 38, and Jenny Simontic is currently going out of the pits, and this is going to be close between Simontic and Jan Kostanov. Kostanov may have DRS if he brakes late enough. Yes, he will, so gap is now 5/10. So Kostanov will have DRS on Jerne Simontic, but Jerne has got super soft tyres, so you would expect Simontic to go and pull away. I believe Kostanov has just pitted as well. So Valiano has got ahead of John Eric Saxon, and this battle between Kiss and Paresis. Paresis has now got past Daniel Kiss, so Paresis now up into 5th place. Recovering well is the Greek driver. I believe he started in 12th place, I believe, or 11th, and that's he's doing a good job. He's up into 5th place, using the option tyre well, maximising the track, and we'll have to see where Paresis finishes come the end of the race. And Michel D'Alessandro currently in 4th place, but of course he needs to pit, but I think we need to give more credit to Petr Briliak, because Petr Briliak to Francesco Bagazzi, apologies for that, is currently 15 seconds, and Briliak doing a fantastic job. Twisted seemingly getting their strategy right in the World Championship. And having said that, Jim Paresis looks down the inside of Alessandro and gets that move done. I've heard a little bit of contact in the background, and that's Daniel Brewer. His race, I think, is done unless he tries to get to the pit. I think he is going to do, but he's probably got suspension damage and has lost his front wing, and he's just sitting there for the moment. And Daniel Brewer has now retired, and apologies for the coughing I've got by cold bar, but you know, I'm happy to commentate for everyone, so never mind. So the gap between Briliak and Patel is still, well, he's actually down to 1 second now, and there's Michel D'Alessandro has gone into the pits, but now there's yellow flags in, and that is Norbert Lehner, and he's lost his rear wing, and that is pretty much his race done. Yes, it is. He's pulls the car to the side of the road, and that is his race done. But it just shows what high attrition here is at Hockenheim, and we only have 16 runners left in this race. Bledisky exits the pits to come out into some clean out for P13, but Jan Kostanov is still under a second for the gap between Jerne Simontic and himself. So battle between Brzezinski and Kiss is quite close. The gap is only 9/10 at the moment. So can Daniel Kiss catch up to Brzezinski and maybe have an overtake going into turn 5? That's showing where the overtakes are, and there's a little bit of there was a little bit of debris on the exit of turn 14, but there isn't. But nevertheless, hang on a minute. Let's have a look at this battle between Brilliant and Patel, the two Twister Racing drivers going at it. Patel is on the option tyre, then now going down into turn 7. And let's have a look. So, Patel going down on the inside, on the outside rather. And Patel, can he get anything done? No, but Brilliant holds his car well, and both drivers doing well to keep it clean. But Patel definitely looking the faster driver, of course, because Brilliant is on the prime tyre and Patel is on the option tyre. But you're interested to see how this strategy pans out for Patel come the end of the race. But Brilliant is doing a good job at the moment, so the gap is only 6 tenths between Patel and Brilliant, as Valiano is now in pits. And so yeah, let's see what Mohammed Patel can do. He's only 5 tenths away from Peter Brilliant. Brakes late going into turn 2. Now gets the power on nicely, and now we'll have the DRS. He's just crossed the DRS line, and he now has DRS. And Thomas Sadler, Q Brzezinski and Carlos Martin are both in the pits. But this battle between Patel brakes later than Brilliant, and they got incredibly close to each other. But Patel's pit light is now on, so you would expect maybe another stint of Super Sun. And yeah, Jim Paresis is now up into 3rd place. So a good job from Paresis to go and pass Francesco Bigazzi, the Italian driver for Red SimRacing, who is currently the best of the rest, who are the Twister drivers, of course. And he is currently up into 4th place. But Jim Paresis having a good race. He's up into 3rd, starting outside the top 10, and he's now up into 3rd. He's going to have to pit, but Mohammed Patel, in fact, is pitting this lap on lap 43. So let's see what Patel can do. So he will go to the wall, locks up his rears, but has now positioned his car perfectly for a good exit. So exits on 43 ahead of Daniel Kiss. So, and he's gone for another set of super softs, so he will do around 12 laps on the set of the super softs, maybe less, and then we'll either for another set of super softs or go for the medium compound tyres. But we'll have to see how that pans out. Where is Brilliant? He is currently still leading the race, but has also got his pit light on. So let's see what tyres Brilliant goes to. So going now down into turn 9, and let's see if he goes and pits. But currently the gap between Paresis and Brilliant is 14.5 seconds. A really huge gap between Brilliant and Paresis. But of course Paresis will need to pit, as Brilliant does right now. So you would expect Brilliant to come out ahead on Mohammed Patel, provided that his... And what's happened to David Greco? And I believe Greco is having problems because he seems to drop a lot of time. Jim Paresis just took the lead of the race. And look at that, what a pass from Q Brzezinski down the inside of David Greco into turn 10. What a move from the Polish driver. Now David Greco goes into the pits, but Patel has managed to get ahead of Brilliant. What a great pit stop that was for Patel, and Brilliant needs to go chase down Mohammed Patel as Daniel Kish just exits the pits in 11th place. But the field definitely quite spread out at the moment, apart from the battle between Patel and Francesco Bigazzi, who still needs to pit, but we'll have to see what Patel can do on Francesco Bigazzi. The gap between them is only 4 tenths, currently on lap 44 out of 67. So we currently have 23 laps remaining of this race. It's been very exciting, I believe, and it's definitely been a pleasure to commentate on. But currently, let's have a look at this battle between Patel. Look at that understeer from the dirty air. He's looking increasingly closer to Francesco Bugatti as they go down into turn 1, but look how much Patel has to get out of the throttle, but now he was surely a bit later than what Bugatti has to gain back that time and to, more importantly, get a good exit out of turn 3, and indeed he does. So the DRS is now open for Mohamed Patel. Puts up the DRS. Can he challenge Francesco Bugatti going into turn 5? Breaks down and now goes down into first gear. Easy pass from Mohamed Patel, but there was a little bit of contact from Peter Brillac on Francesco Bugatti there, I think, but definitely Brillac is catching up to Patel. But now, of course, Patel will have some clean air throughout the end of sector 2 and now beginning sector 3, and Brillac will now have the dirty air to contend with, but of course he has got fresher tyres than what Patel has, so that may become a factor come the end of the race. We'll have to see what Brillac can do. Can he get this win back from Mohamed Patel, who's currently pretty much the leader in this race? Parise still needs to pit, but let's see. Let's keep on board with Peter Brillac going now down into turn 1. Well, listen. Oh, in fact, Brillac didn't lift off too much to Bugatti, so pretty good from Brillac. So now Bugatti is on the prime compound tyre, Brillac is on the options. He's got a great drive out of turn 3, and the DRS is now open as to go around turn 4, and then they will now break down into turn 5, and the move is already gone before they reach the hairpin. So another move down into the hairpin for this race, and Peter Brillac now up into 3rd place. He's now going to go and challenge Mohamed Patel, and Jim Parise will expect him in the pits relatively soon. So Jim Parise leads the way from Mohamed Patel, who's only 5/10 away. So will Parise get out of the way of Mohamed Patel? Will he dive to pits? No, he doesn't. So is this going to be a track fight between both Twister Racing drivers? They're now heading down into turn 1. Let's have a listen to how much Patel lifts off. He doesn't lift off too much, but definitely the fresh tyres playing a part in that. So heading down into turn 2, Dejan Kostadanov has managed to get past Thomas Sadler. What's happened to Sadler? I believe he may have spun on the entry into the pits. Let's have a look on the replay. And yeah, he did. He touched the gravel and then just went backwards into the pit lane. How unfortunate for Sadler. And talking about that, Patel now got past Jim Parise and David Greco. In fact, Sadler is still in the pits, so of course he would have got damage for that. We've got 20 laps remaining, and Sadler's engine has gone off. So, and Valiano is now going to go and pass, and Sadler is now retired. Unfortunate for him. So now we only have, I believe, 15 runners out of 22. And so now left the server, but look at that, Patel is now gaining ground. He's pulling away from Peter Brillac. Brillac is right behind Jim Parise, and let's have a look. So Peter Brillac will have DRS on Jim Parise as he now goes to the outside once again, looking down the inside into turn 5. Let's see if Brillac can get this move done. Yes, he can. So Brillac is now up into 2nd place. Mohamed Patel is currently in 1st place with a gap of 1.5 seconds. So let's see how well Brillac can get that gap down between Patel and himself. And battle between Del Sandro and Kostadanov is definitely hotting up. The gap is only 2/10, but Del Sandro had a poor exit out of turn 5, and that cost him a chance to have a look down into turn 7. But Del Sandro doing a good job, it has to be said, is the Pro Series driver. He won over in Austria, didn't win today. In fact, Jax Wengler for Zero SimRacing, I believe it is. But yes, he did win the race, which is a great effort. I've heard crashing sounds. Someone's gone off in the first sector. Who is it? And it is Francesco Bagazzi. No. Oh, Francesco. Oh, it's such a shame for him. Look how much he's having to put in the wheel just to keep it straight, and he's gone off into the grass. I'm pretty sure that's his race done. How unfortunate for him. He had such a promising race, and it's all just gone upside down. It's so unfortunate for Francesco Bagazzi. But now that's put Jerne Simotic up into 4th place. I believe we will have to pit again. But let's have a look at this battle between believe it is D'Alessandro and Kostadanov, and Kostadanov having oversteer on the entry into turn 7, and now that's cost him a position. D'Alessandro is now up into P5. Next up is Jerne Simotic as Jim Paresis now goes into the pits. So you would expect Paresis to go onto medium compound tyre, and yes, he does. So this will be Jim Paresis' final pit stop in this race. So, and the Burlak gap between Patel and Burlak is now 1.3 seconds. Still not within DRS territory, but we'll have to see how that pans out. As now, oh, this is going to be terrible for Jim Paresis, because now Q Brzezinski has just got past him. He's in a world of traffic here at Hockenheim, and so Paresis is now going to have to go and get past Brzezinski, Kostadanov, and possibly D'Alessandro. We'll have to see how well he catches up to them. But Q Brzezinski looking around the outside of Kostadanov, as is Carlos Martin trying to go around the outside. Brzezinski just can't have the grip or the drive out of turn 5. But look at that, Kostadanov is side by side with Brzezinski, but Brzezinski has managed to get that move done going into turn 7 and then on the exit of turn 7 as well. So good move, Q Brzezinski. But now Jim Paresis has to get past Dejan Kostadanov, and I believe this will have to be done on track as well. You could expect Kostadanov in the pits quite soon. But it's unfortunate for Juventus SimRacing because they're having such a solid race. And oh, Dejan, I had oversteer on the exit of turn 13 and did well to keep the car under control. Having a look down into turn 1, but he managed to not have contact. But now have a look at Carlos Martin. Oh, he's going 3 wide into turn 2, and somehow they haven't made contact. Dejan Kostadanov has now gone past Carlos Martin, and look at that, Kiss is now right on the outside of Dejan Kostadanov. Kostadanov has lost 3 places in the space of a couple of corners, but now he's attacking Daniel Kiss down and trying to get the cutback, but can't. His places can't well. But now Carlos Martin is right on the back of Jim Paresis. Can he try and overtake him going down into turn 7? But his pit light is on, so you'd expect Martin to go into the pits and go and get onto the medium compound tyre. And Jerne Simotic's pit light is also on, so it'll be 15 laps on the medium compound tyre, which is definitely doable. So let's see if Jerne Simotic goes into the pits. Yes, he does. So Jerne Simotic into the pits. Is Carlos Martin going into the pits? No, he doesn't, so he's going to carry on for another lap. But the gap between Burlak and Patel is now 7/10, so Burlak is now in DRS territory as well. But you'd expect them to come into the pits. I've heard a little bit of crashing. Martin has had a little bit of contact. He's lost his front wing. Oh, Carlos Martin having such a promising race. If only he went into that, he wouldn't have lost his front wing. And how unfortunate for him. Blair Disley's now into 8th place. Unfortunate for Carlos Martin. But Jerne Simotic has now exited out in P10, and Alexis Cabella's just going to let him through for Mag K Racing. I mean, that's just really unfortunate for Carlos Martin. He's having such a good race, but trying to get back to the basics. Kostanov. Oh, Diane. Oh no, he's just gone wrong for Adventure yet again. Oh no, Diane. He had exit. He had oversteer on the exit of turn 7, and Disney trying to go around the outside, and he's collected Carlos Martin. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Disney as well. He collected with Kostanov, and now he's collected with Carlos Martin, who's tried to get back to the pits. It's been horrible understeer because he hasn't got front wing. As Kostanov now pits, that's now released to Simontic, and now Simontic is just going past Michel D'Alessandro coming out of the pit. So D'Alessandro has got an absolutely fantastic opportunity of getting some quality points for BBR Live for Racing. We have fantastic achievement. We've also got yellow flags in the first sector again, and I don't know who that was. Bledis is now exited out into 10th place ahead of Carlos Martin. But look at that on Carlos Martin's car. Look how much steering lock he's having to put in just to keep that car straight. And really unfortunate for Carlos Martin. Having such a good race, it's all just gone wrong. But let's have a look at the battle between Burlak and Patel. But Burlak is right on the back of behind Patel. They're both going to have to pick soon. So let's see what Burlak can do. He's going to go and have DRS on Mohammed Patel, but is 5/10 enough for Patel to keep first place as they now go down into turn 5. Patel doesn't really defend as Burlak bounces off the speed limit, 318 kilometers an hour with us and slipstream, but Patel keeps first place, and Patel's pit light is on. So does that mean that well, he's obviously going to have to do more laps, so whether he's going to do the medium time, we'll have to see, as someone has now spun and Carlos Martin his race has gone. He's now left the server. How unfortunate for him. So close to the end, and it's just gone wrong for him. But Jones is up into 6th place, and Q Rosinski is up into 3rd. Great race so far. He's going to have to go and pit. And is Patel going into the pits? Yes, he is, as Valiano also goes into the pits as well. So let's see where Patel comes out. We've also got yellow flags in the first sector again. I'm not too sure who that, but let's just keep an eye on Patel. Let's see where he comes out, because this is really important. And Brzezinski goes into the pits, and he's got a nice clear track. Let's see if Patel can keep this lead. He's gone onto the Super Softs, which is quite interesting. He's going to have to do 12 laps on the Super Softs, which is definitely possible. He just needs to keep them in good shape and not push too hard, otherwise they will go off the cliff. But Burlak needs to respond, and he is doing. The Twister Racing pit crew is out, so his pit light is on. So let's see where Burlak feeds out. It's been another Twister domination yet again. It's a 1-2-3 it's a 1-2-4 in fact for Twister Racing at the moment. So let's see where Burlak comes out. He's got 11 laps to do on the Superstar, so he can perhaps push a little bit harder than what Patel can. And there you go, Burlak is now in the pits for Twister Racing. Breaks down into second gear into the speed limiter. Make sure he doesn't go over the speed limiter, otherwise he will get a stop and penalty, and that's not what you want to go and see. So right, Patel is going past the start finish straight now. He started that 56, and there goes Burlak. So Patel has got a gap of around a second, so it's important that Burlak keeps within that second, but he can't, so it's now 1.5 seconds. So the gap was pretty much the same, it's been pretty much the same across the whole of the race. Has the gap been between Burlak and Patel 1.5 seconds, but Denkus is now in the pits as well. So let's see where Kiss feeds out. He's going to feed out into some clear air. Kostanov is nowhere in sight at the moment, but we currently have 11 laps to go of this race. It's definitely been exciting. I've enjoyed commentating on it, and I hope everyone else on the broadcast has also enjoyed the broadcast as well. So currently, let's run down through the grid on lap 56. We'll enter into lap 57 come when Patel crosses that start-finish line. But we're interested to see, can Brilak get past Mohammed Patel? Let's see. But currently, the top 10 on lap 57 is Mohammed Patel leads from Petr Burlak, Jim Parisis, Jurnej Simontic, Kuba Brzezinski, Michel D'Alessandro having an excellent race while BBR Life for Racing. Daniel Kiss is in 7th, Jan Stanov is in 8th, John Eric Saxon is in 9th, and Blair Disley rounds out the top 10. So we'll have to see if David Greco can get into the top 10. But the gap between Patel and Burlak is now 1.1 seconds. So it's slowly but surely coming down. So can Patel hold on to this win? He lost it at China, where his engine blew up on the final lap, and so can Mohammed Patel get a win here at Hockenheim? We'll have to see. So, and look at that, Brzezinski is now challenging Jurnej Simontic. The gap is now 4 tenths, so, and they're really close, as is Michel D'Alessandro. He's only 5 tenths away from Kuba Brzezinski. So Jurnej Simontic under pressure, but can he keep his composure? And we'll have to see what Brzezinski can do. So I think let's go on board with this battle between Burlak and Patel. And Burlak sets the fastest lap of the race, and I believe Patel did, which was a 15.2, but then Burlak absolutely smashes that by 4 tenths and does a 1:14.8, and Burlak will have DRS. So let's see what Burlak can do. He's going to have DRS, but he's not close enough, but he's getting closer lap by lap, and under braking brakes a lot later than what Patel did. So Petr Burlak currently only 4 tenths away. We'll have to keep an eye on this battle and see if Burlak can get by Patel come the next stop down straight. But Kuba Brzezinski trying to overtake Jurnej Simontic, but the gap is just too large, even with DRS. So yeah, so we may as well keep on board with the Twister racing car, since they are actually the closest battle, who are closest to the next DRS zone. So we have 9 laps remaining. Can Patel hold on to this lead? We'll have to see who can keep composure and who has got the most raw speed to go and take victory here at the Hockenheim rig. So break it down. Oh, look at that. So Burlak had a small lockup on his front right going into turn 2. So now DRS is open for Petr Burlak, and now going down into turn 5, but the gap is just too big. Perhaps he lost it. Perhaps he lost to Patel on the exit of turn 2, but look how close he is now. And again, it's only 3 tenths. It seems that Burlak could get that car in closer to the apex at turn 5. And let's go aboard with Brzezinski again. Can he overtake Jurnej Simontic? Maybe he'll have a look down the inside. He is having a look down the inside, but oh, so they're still side by side. But Brzezinski's probably going to have a look up on the inside into turn 7, and he's going to try and go around the outside. It's Kuba Brzezinski on Jurnej Simontic, and leave each other room. Yes, they do some good racing from both of them, but Simontic keeps that position. 7 laps to go in this World Championship race. But look at that, Michel D'Alessandro has got a fantastic opportunity to get some good points. He already has got good points, being in 6th place, but he could get even more points. We'll have to see what happens. But Brzezinski right on the back of Jurnej Simontic, and Simontic is currently the best driver out of the rest at this point in time. 7 laps remaining, and Burlak still hasn't got past Patel, so he can't use the fresher tyres to his advantage. He needs to get closer on the exit of turn 2. We'll have to see if Burlak can do that. So let's go on board back with Kuba Brzezinski as they now head down into turn 5. Is Brzezinski going to have another look? No, he's too far away this time. So we'll have to see what Brzezinski can do come the next lap. I don't think he'll have a look down into turn 7. He doesn't have DRS. I think he's just too far away. Let's go and have a look into turn 7. Yes, he is. But definitely keep your journey under pressure in Hockenheim. Currently on lap 61 now, so 6 laps remaining. And can Burlak get past Patel? But the gap is 6 tenths. He needs to brake later. And so he needs some good traction out of turn 3. And he does do that. He's 5 tenths. It's definitely possible for Burlak to get past Patel. Is he going to have a look this time? Has he got the top speed? Let's have a look at Burlak's top speed, 319. So he's 10 kilometers faster than Patel. He tries to get the undercut, but Patel misses his car. Well, it's good racing from both Twister Racing drivers. So now let's go back on board with Brzezinski yet again, trying to get past Journey Simocic. But I think the gap is just too much. Again, I think we'll have to see. But he is catching on him, but I just think it's too risky to have a look. He is having a look. Oh, Cuba. That was a bit too optimistic, my friend. I think that was way too optimistic. You can see how desperate Kuba Brzezinski was looking, how optimistic he was looking into turn 5. He's definitely showing that he wants to get past Journey Simocic, but I think it was just too far away, maybe too optimistic there. But Michele Alessandro, he's just keeping behind these guys, so we'll have to see what Alessandro can do. Maybe he can be a dark horse in this race and perhaps maybe get past either maybe Brzezinski or Journey Simocic. The gap between Burlak and Patel, again, Burlak brakes later, but it's just the story of this race so far, of this battle rather. Just Burlak can't get this move done. Maybe come 2 laps to the end. Currently we have 5 laps remaining of this race, but is it possible for Burlak to get past Patel? We keep on asking this, but Brzezinski's looking again down the inside, and whoa, I don't know with that. I think that's way too optimistic there. Now that's allowed Alessandro to get through. Journey's having a look on the outside, and Journey's gone off the track, and now that's allowed Kiss through, and that is, I don't know with that. I think that's something for Chris Cobb to have a look at, but I'm not sure. Anyway, let's look back to this Twister Racing battle with Burlak and Patel. It's now 5 tenths, and that gap's just too much for Burlak to go and try and overtake Patel, but he's not taking any risks. They're being fair. It's nice to see the respect between both drivers. We currently have 4 laps remaining out of 67. It's been an exhilarating, has it not? So hopefully everyone else on the broadcast has enjoyed it. And thanks to Sam Jones for doing the cameras all weekend and so far for the whole of this season. So credit to him for that. But Journey is just too far back to go and try and have a look down and try and overtake Daniel Kiss. And now Kuba Brzezinski is currently in 4th place for Origin Sim Racing. So let's once again have a look with the battle between both Twister Racing drivers, and I think unless Patel makes a mistake, I just can't see Burlak getting past. I think the gap is increasing lap by lap, and Burlak, both drivers are done a fantastic job. They've got 1-2 so far for Twister Too Fast For You Racing, so you know it's a job from them. But it'll also be a fantastic job for Jim Paresis as well. You know, he started outside the top 10 and has managed to get up into 3rd place, so he's keeping his championship alive, and he's managed to cut the amount of points they would have lost to Burlack by 3. So we'll have to see how the standings pan out to the end of the race. But Daniel Kiss is looking ever closer to Michel D'Alessandro. Can Daniel Kiss get past D'Alessandro? We'll have to see. But let's have a look back with the Twister Racing battle of Patel and Burlack. It's only 5 tenths now, so just maybe Burlack can get past Mohammed Patel. So he's got DRS. I don't think he's going to do any risky moves going into turn 1. He's too far behind. And yes, he is. So we will enter into the final stages of this race. We'll have 2 laps remaining of this race. It's definitely been exciting, and we will see who can come out on top out of Patel and Burlack. Who could take the race win here? Maybe the fresher tyres of Burlack is going to play to his hands, but of course you've got to remember that with the Dirty 8, Burlack's been probably pushing harder. So in fact, Burlack's tyres may be in a worse condition than what Patel's up. So we'll have to see. Has Burlack got anything more to give? Can he get past Mohammed Patel in the final stages of this race? And the gap is now 5 tenths points. So much commitment into one, trying desperately to get some time to Mohammed Patel. He is closer. Peter Burlack overcooking turn 2, trying so hard, trying everything in the book to try and get past Mohammed Patel, but I can't see it happening, I'm afraid, unless, as I said, Patel makes a mistake, then maybe Burlack can get ahead. But Patel has drove an absolutely solid race and went on a different strategy to his teammate, and it seems to have worked at this stage. But the race isn't over yet. What can Burlack do? Can he use them? I think maybe Patel's tyres are going off slightly because Burlack has now managed to go and catch up to Patel because the gap is now only 4 tenths. So really pushing the boundaries is Peter Burlack, and we'll have to see what can Burlack do. We're coming to the final lap of the race of the World Championship race at Hockenheim. So the final lap of the race, and now it's literally do or die for Peter Burlack. Whoa, he took a curve. I thought I was going to send the car flying there, but Burlack keeps the car running. So now the gap is only 4 tenths now. So now with DRS, can we have some last lap drama here at Hockenheim? He is closer now. Is he going to look to the inside? Oh, but whoa, Patel places his car well, and I think unless Burlack can get a good drive out of turn 5, which he doesn't really, because he tried to brake later than Patel and go around the outside. But now Patel only has 1 more sector to go as he crosses the 2nd sector now into the 3rd sector. Mohammed Patel is on his way to go and take victory here at Hockenheim in the World Championship. Let's see if Patel can do just that as he now comes around turn 13 and then 14. Mohammed Patel for Twister Racing comes across the line to take victory here at Hockenheim. Peter Burlack will be a little bit disappointed. He led a lot of the race, but still 2nd place is a fantastic effort from him and a fantastic effort from both Twister Racing drivers. Jim Paresis has done a stellar race to come in 3rd place from outside the top 10. Kuba Brzezinski is in 4th place for Origin Sim Racing, and then Michel D'Alessandro BBR Live for Racing will be ecstatic with that. 5th in the World Championship, a fantastic race from him. Daniel Kiss finishes in 6th place, a good race from him. Journey Simotic finishes in 7th place, and I think you can tell what Journey Simotic thinks of Q Rosinski for that, when he just drove straight into him. I don't know if Sam got that on the broadcast, but Dion Kostanov finishes in 8th. John Eric Saxon finishes a good race in 9th place. Blair Disley rounds out the top 10 with a point for GS Engineering. David Greco finishes just outside the top 10 in the 11th place. And good old Valiano finishes in 12th place. And Alexi Cavella finishes in 13th place. So a good race overall. It's definitely exciting. A lot of overtaking into turn 5 with the DRS. Oh, okay, so Journey didn't actually mean to crash into Q Rosinski. He's just putting in the chat on the server, so apologies for that. But yeah, and in fact Cuba is now apologises to Journey for maybe overly optimistic move, but anyway, never mind. Still a great race for Q Rosinski to, you know, he didn't complete a lap qualifying, but has managed to get himself up into 4th place. So let's go through the runners who haven't finished. So Carlos Martin has such a promising race, finishes, well, doesn't actually finish, with Francisco Bugazzi as well, who didn't finish. Also had another promising race, as did Sadler. All the people that have retired pretty much did have a promising race. Not unfortunate for him. Daniel Brewer of Origin Sim Racing. Johnny Simon started on pole position, just couldn't convert the pole position to a race win. Chris de Jong finishes in 20th. Clement Prieto finishes in 21st. And Marco Conti rounds out the 22 cars and the people who did not finish. So congrats to Mohammed Patel. In fact, congrats to Twister Racing for getting a 1, 2, 3. A fantastic effort from him. Thank you to Sam Jones for doing the cameras, and thank you to Chris Cobb for directing the race. And it's been a good one. It was fairly clean. There was a couple of little incidents, but on the whole it was very clean, and the drivers did an excellent job. So great to Mohammed Patel and Twister Racing for their win. So, thank you everyone for watching. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast, and we will see you for round 8 of the championship at Silverstone in 2 weeks' time. Hopefully, we will see you there. And from myself and the rest of the broadcast team, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.